Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to another interesting tutorial. If you are seeing this video, please click the like button. If you are new to my channel, you are welcome to Vivian Bernard sewing tutorial. Consider subscribing to this channel if you have not. Also click on the notification bell to get notified each time I post new video. We'll be learning how to draft this beautiful 6-piece skirt. This video is well detailed, so last and watch till the end. Alright, let's get started. In this tutorial, we are going to be learning how to draft a fitted 6-piece skirt, okay? So what I have here is my straight skirt. In my last tutorial, we learned how to draft a fitted pencil skirt, okay? So you should go and check out that tutorial so that you understand how we are able to draft this straight skirt. So the first thing you are going to do is to mark your bust radius all the way down, okay? So my own bust radius is 3.5. To get your bust radius, you are just going to divide your bust circumference by 8, then you minus 1. So in my own case, I divide my bust radius, which is 30. I divide my bust circumference by 8, which is 36 divided by 8. I have 4.5. Then when I minus 1 from 8, I have 3.5, okay? So I'm going to mark 3.5 on my waistline. I'm going to mark it on my hip line. And I'm going to mark it on my hemline. So when I mark it, I'm going to connect it all the way down with my long ruler. So I'll do the same thing at the center back, okay? So from the zipper allowance, I'm going to mark my bust radius 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5 at the waistline. So you are marking it from the zipper allowance, okay? So I'm going to connect it. So the essence of marking this line is to be able to get our 6 pieces panel, okay? Here we have this line, this bust radius line I marked has already divided this skirt pattern, this straight skirt pattern we have here into our 6 pieces panel, okay? And we have number 1 panel here, which is the center front, and we have number 2 panel here. So these 2 panels we're going to sit at the 2 sides of the center front, okay? So here we have number 2, which is going to be 2 pieces, okay? When you cut this one, it's going to be unfold, which has already given us 1 panel. Then when you trace this one, it's going to give us 2 pieces, which will sit at the right and left side of this center front. Automatically we have 3 panels here, okay? So at the back we also have 3 panels, okay? So this one is the center back, which is already 1, and this one is the side back. So it's going to sit at the left and right side of the back pattern, okay? I don't know if you understand. So this dark line, the essence of it is to divide our skirt into the 6 panels that we want to create, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to give this skirt a shape, okay? So what I'm going to do is that from these 2 sides of the dart, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides, okay? Then from this point, I'm going to come in by ½ inch. From this point, I'm going to From this point, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. From this point, so on the two sides of this dot line that I marked, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch, okay? And from the zipper allowance, okay, if you want your butt contoured, you understand, you are just going to come in by 1/2 inch, okay? So on our previous tutorial, I taught you guys on how to do a butt contour, like if you want your butt to be seen on your skirt, okay? So that is it. But if you are sewing for an advanced lady, I don't think this is necessary because they don't always like that. So after marking this point, what I'm going to do is to get my ruler, then I'll connect this point. So I'm going to connect this point all the way to this point, okay? So note that the skirt pattern we are using here is a straight pattern, not a pencil skirt pattern, okay? So I encourage you to go and watch my tutorial on how to draft a pencil skirt pattern, okay? Or rather, a straight skirt pattern is simply a skirt that is not penciled. So whatever you have at the hip line, that is what you have at the hem line, okay? So that is the kind of skirt that you are going to draft in order to follow us up on this tutorial, okay? So I'm going to connect this to this point. So I'm going to connect this point to this point. So I'll also connect this point to this point. I'm also going to connect this point to this point. So at the center back, I'm going to use my curve ruler. So I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect it back to this point, okay? So this one is not necessary. It's necessary only if you want your butt to be seen at the back of your skirt, okay? So once I connect this, I'm just going to mark back my 1 inch zipper allowance from that point, okay? So when I mark it, I'm going to connect back my 1 inch zipper allowance. So here won't be necessary again. That is if you want to contour your underbutt, okay? If you want your bum bum to be seen at the back. So after giving this skirt a shape, the next thing we are going to do is to determine where the fullness is going to start from, okay? So you can use 18 inches, 19 inches, 20 inches, according to how tall the person is, okay? But the minimal length is 18 or 19. So I'm just marking 18 inches from my waist all the way down, okay? This is where the fullness is going to start from, okay? So from my waistline, I'm marking 18 inches. So from 18 inches, the fullness is going to start, okay? So the reason why the The reason why the fullness is starting from 18 inches is for you to be able to walk, okay? Because when you are sewing a 6-piece skirt, you are not putting a slit at the back. So when you decide to make the fullness to start at the knee, that means you can't be able to walk. So it's very important you come up from your knee, okay? So automatically 18 inches will be somewhere above your knee, somewhere like 4 or 5 inches above your knee length, okay? So that you can be able to walk. That is why we are doing this, okay? So I'm marking 18 inches at the center back skirt too. So I'm going to connect it that way. So guys, if you are watching this video and if you've not liked this video, stop right there and like this video before you continue. So this is the length. So this is the length of our 6-piece skirt. Like, this is where the fullness is going to start from, okay? I hope you understand. Not the total length though. This is where the fullness is going to start from, okay? So after that, the next thing now is to trace this out, okay? So I'm going to get a fresh paper, then I'm going to trace. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels for this, okay? So when we trace it out, then I'm going to show you guys how to determine the fullness that you are going to add on your 6-piece skirts according to your preference, okay? But first of all, I'm going to trace it out. So for number 1 panel, I'm going to trace the center front, and it's starting from here all the way, and you are going to follow this line. Can you see this line? Yeah, you are going to follow this line, and you are. So when you trace the center front, you are going to add half-inch seam allowance all round, okay? You are going to add half-inch seam allowance at the waist and at the end seam line. So but at the hem line, there is no need because we are still creating our pattern, okay? So for the side front, you are also going to start all the way from the waist, and you are going to follow this line, and when you get here, you are going to follow this line. So this half-inch line that we mark beside the dart, okay? Then you are going to follow this line, and you are also going to follow this line, okay? So automatically this line is not relevant again, okay? This line here is not relevant. This is the line that we are tracing at the side skirt, and when you get here, this line is not also relevant. You see where I'm marking out? So this line is not relevant. So when you are tracing, you are following our new line that we created here. I hope you understand. Yeah. So when we get to the center back, we also have 2 panels. We have number 1 and we have number 2 panels. So when you are tracing, I've already added zipper allowance already, so you don't need to add zipper allowance when you trace. So you are just going to trace everything from here all the way down here, and you are going to follow this line. So can you see the new line here? You are going to follow it, and you are going to follow here and stop right here, and you are also going to follow this line. But if you are not doing a contouring at your butt, you can just follow this straight line, okay? I hope you understand that. Then for the side back, you are also going to start from here, and you are going to trace all the way down. You are following this new line, okay? And you are also going to trace here. You are following this line also. So this line is not necessary again, okay? And also this line here is not necessary, okay? So when you get here, you are following this line, okay? And when you get at the center back, you are also following this line. So I hope you understand the trace out. I will get my paper, and then we proceed to tracing it out. guys, after tracing out, this is how it looks. Okay, so we have 4 panels here for our 6 pieces skirt. Okay, so this is the center front, this is the side front, this is the side back, and this is the center back. So like I told you, the center front is going to be cut on fold, which is 1, and this will be cut 2 pieces. It will be at the right and left side of the center front, which makes it 3 at the front, right? And the center back will be cut on fold, but it will be split at the center back. Okay, so you should not mistaken it for 2 pieces. It serves as 1. Okay, then this is the side back. You are going to cut 2 pieces. It's going to sit at the left and right side of the center back. So the next thing you are going to do is to determine the fullness of each of these panels using your hip circumference. Okay, on my own case, my hip circumference is 36. Okay, so you are going to multiply your hip circumference by 3. Okay, or depending on the amount of fabric you are working with, you can multiply it by 3, you can multiply it by 2. Okay, but for me, the minimum for me is multiplying my hip circumference by 3. Okay, so my hip circumference is 39, right? Then when I multiply 39 inches by 3, I have 117. Okay, so this 117, I'm going to divide it by the number of panels I'm working with, which is 6 pieces, right? So I'm going to divide 117 by 6. So when I divide 117 by 6, I have 19.5. Okay, so that means that each of these panels is going to have a fullness of 19.5. Okay, so this is the formula to determine the fullness of your 6 pieces skirt. Okay, but it's not static. Multiplying your hip circumference by 3 or by 2 is not static. It totally depends on the amount of material that you are working with. So before you do this calculation, you should ensure that you have enough material, okay, that is going to serve you. Okay, so having determined the amount of fullness that we are going to work with, I'm going to write it down, 19.5 on each panel. Okay, so 19.5 is the fullness of each of these patterns. Another thing you are going to determine is the length that you are working with. Normally 6 pieces is always beautiful when it's flowy. Okay, so if you've not watched my tutorial on how to take a perfect body measurement, you should go and watch it. Okay, so the measurement we are going to use for this total skirt length is your side waist to floor. Okay, so the measurement you are going to have from the waist to your floor, that is the measurement you are using. So I'm going to link that tutorial down on the description box so that you can go and check it. Okay, so on my own case, my side waist to floor is 46. Okay, so I'm going to add extra 5 inches to this 46 because I want this skirt to be very flowy. Okay, so when I add extra 5 inches to it, I'm just going to get 51 inches as my total length. Okay, so that is it about how to determine your length and also the fullness of each panel. So I'm going to go ahead and get a fresh paper so that you can see how to create this pattern with these values that we have here. So guys, we have come in the section where we want to create the fullness in this 6 pieces panel. Okay, so we are starting off with the center back. Okay, so I want to show you guys how you can add tail to your 6 pieces. And guys, if you are watching this video and you've not liked this video, stop right there and like this video. Okay, so in order to create the tail at the back, the first thing you are going to do, so like I told you, we are starting up with the center back. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to mark 10 inches for the allowance for the tail. Okay, so you can even make it 7. Okay, let us make it 7. So let's assume that the material that we are working with is not enough. So you can use 7, you can use 10, you can use 20. It's not static. It depends on the volume of tail you want to add. So this is a cut together tail. So I'm mapping out 7 inches, okay? I'm mapping out 7 inches all the way down. So this is a long paper. It's very long because what we are tracing is also long. So I map out 7 inches. This 7 inches is for the tail, okay? It's for the cut together tail. Okay. So let me shift this paper so you can see exactly what we're doing. So when I mark out 7 inches, I'm going to, okay, so this is my 7 inches line, okay? This line now is my allowance for the tail, okay? So once you map it out like this, what you are going to do is to join your center back, okay? So make sure that the center back is facing these 7 inches that you map out for the tail, okay? So you can see that the center back is facing the 7 inches I map out for the tail. Then I'm going to get my gum and join it. So once I join it, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the total length of our 6 pieces skirt, okay? So the total length of our 6 pieces skirt, let me mark it right now. So from the seam allowance here, we are just going to mark the total length, okay? So let me just use 46 inches for the total length so that this paper can be enough. But my actual total length, if I'm sewing this, is 51 inches, okay? But I'm just marking 46 for my total length so that this paper can be enough to show you guys, okay? So I'm going to mark 46 and I'm going to connect it, okay? So this is the total length. This is my skirt length, okay? Remember how we got the total length. So after marking it, the next thing I'm going to do is from this line. So you can see this line, this 7 inches line that we mapped out for the cut together tail. So from this point, I'm going to input 19.5 divided by 2, okay? So we calculated 19.5 for fullness of each of the panel we created, right? So I'm going to divide this 19.5 by 2 because this center back is just like we are cutting it on fold. When we open it, we are going to have 19.5. So we are, regardless that we are splitting it at the back for the zipper allowance, just bear in mind that this 19.5, you are dividing it into 2, okay? So that when you open it up, even when you slit it, you are going to have half of 19.5 here and half of 19.5. When you put it together, you have 19.5. I hope you understand this, my long explanation. So when I divide it, I have 9.75. So from this point, so after this 7 inches cut together tail line, I'm going to mark my 9.75. Can you see that? So when I mark it, I'm going to connect it from this point all the way to this point where I join the paper. It's as simple and easy as that. Just relax. And if you are watching this video, you see any form of advertisement, sit down, relax, watch the advertisement. You also learn from advertisements, okay? So don't skip ad, okay? If you are skipping ad, that means you don't mean good for this teacher. So when I connect it, can you see how it is? So the next thing we are going to do is to go over to the tail, okay? So you can see the 7 inches that we map out for the tail. What I'm going to do, so you see this length, this is the normal length, 46 inches length that I marked from the waistline all the way. This is the normal length of our 6 pieces, okay? So now for the tail, I'm going to extend the length of the tail. So from this point, I'm going to extend it by, let me use 10 inches, okay? So this length is only going to affect the tail. It's not going to affect the side where we are going to join the side panel. I hope you understand. So this is 10 inches. I extended it from the normal skirt length, okay? I marked 10 inches. So when I mark it, I'm going to get my ruler and I'll connect it from this point to this point. So you can see the way I'm placing my ruler. So from this point to this point, I'm going to mark out my cut together tail, okay? So after marking it out, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this point to this point, okay? So this point is where our fullness, where I marked half of the fullness, right? I'm going to connect it all the way. So you connect it in such a way that it's flat, at least 1 inch. So here it's flat, so that when you join the side, it's going to rhyme. So you just use your free hand method and connect it. So once you draw your preferred curve, you're just going to use your curve ruler to smoothen it out, okay? So you can see what you have here. This is the center back. We've created the pattern. Can you see it? So I hope you understand this part. Okay, so this is the center back and this is the cut together tail. This is the normal fullness, okay? So in case you don't want to add tail, in case you are sewing for a client who told you that she doesn't want tail, all you have to do is to ignore this 7 inches line that we marked out for the tail. Just ignore it and you are just going to follow here and here. That is it. So I'll go ahead and cut out this so that we can create. So this is our center back. So guys, this is the side back, okay? So we want to create the fullness for the side back, okay? So I want you guys to notice something here. This is the side back and this is the side front. Both of them are the same thing when you place both of them right side facing each other. Can you see that they are the same thing? So it equally means that when we create the fullness for this side back pattern, we can also use it to cut out the side front pattern. Okay, so that is simple as that. So we are just going to create the fullness for the side back, and we are going to use it in place of the side front because both of them are the same thing. Okay, so guys, before the phone call interrupted our class, so I'm trying to tell you guys that we are creating the fullness of just one pattern, because even if we create fullness for this and this, it's still the same thing. Okay, so to save time and energy, we are just going to create fullness for the side back, and we are just going to use it to cut the side back, and we are also going to use the pattern to cut the side front. That is simple as that. Okay, so that's it. Let's continue. So the first thing you are going to do is to get a fresh paper and make sure that you mark the midpoint of this fresh paper just like I did, and you also make sure that you find the center line of the hemline of this. Okay, so the thing we want to do is to make sure that it aligns, both of this pattern is at the center of this. Okay, so that we can create our fullness effectively. So I'm going to use my gum and gum it down, so I'll make sure that both center lines matches. That way we will be sure that it's at the center. Okay, so I'm going to gum it down. So after gumming it down like this, the next thing I'm going to mark is the length. Okay, so I used 46 inches for the center back, so I'm also going to mark 46 inches. So from the seam allowance, we are going to mark 46 inches. Okay, so when I mark 46 inches, I will extend the line. So at this hemline, what I'm going to do, the fullness we calculated for each of the pattern is 19.5. Okay, so I'm not just going to mark 19.5. This center line I marked here will be a guide for me to mark this 19.5. So that means I'm going to divide 19.5 into 2. I will mark one from the center line like this and from the center line like this, so that when I measure it, I will have my 19.5. So 19.5 divided by 2, I have 9.75. So from this line, I'm marking 9.75. So at the hemline, can you see it? From this center line, I'm marking 9.75. And from this center line, I'll also mark 9.75. So after marking it, when I measure it now, you can see all together we have 19.5. Okay, so you can see that these lines we are drawing is actually for something. So after drawing it, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect it from this point all the way to this point, and that is it, guys. We have created our side pattern. So I also connect this from this point all the way to this point too. So can you see how we've created the fullness? I'm just going to cut this out now. So this is the center front panel. We are also going to create a fullness for that, okay? And before that, if you've not liked this video, like it though. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. I know that you guys are gaining great value from this, okay? So don't even go there. So the first thing I'm going to do is to gum down this. So you can just get your fresh pattern paper and make sure that the edges are aligning, okay? So because this will be cut on fold, you should make sure that you place it at the edge, because here is the center of your skirt. So because it will be cut on fold, make sure that you are aligning this pattern at the edge of your paper like this. Just do exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to mash up this paper. So when I mash it up like this, I'm going to mark my skirt length, okay? And we are working with the skirt length of 46, right? And I'm going to measure 46 inches from the waist all the way down. So I'll do that right now. So I marked 46 inches and I'm going to extend the line. So when you extend the line, the next thing you are going to do is to mark in your fullness, okay? The fullness we are working with is 19.5, right, on each of the pattern. So this 19.5, because this will be cut on fold, I'm going to divide this 19.5 by 2, and I will place the measurement here so that in such a way that when we cut here on fold and open it up, you are going to have your 19.5, okay? So 19.5 divided by 2, we have 9.75. So I'm going to mark 9.75 on this line and I will connect it. That is simple as that, okay? So in course of watching this video, if you are confused, drop your questions on the comment section. Don't only drop questions, okay? Also drop a note of thanks. So that is it. I've created the fullness for the center front. The next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. So guys, can you see the pattern we created? This is the center front, this is the side front, this is the side back, and this is the center back, okay? So you already know the reason why we didn't create for the side front, because both the side front and the side back are the same thing. So we can equally use this pattern to cut out for the side front. But if you still want to make yours, create your pattern, you can just follow exact way that we used in creating the pattern for the side back. You will create your side front, okay? So now to cut it out, you are just going to cut this on fold. It's going to be one piece, and for the side front you are going to cut 2 pieces, okay? So assuming that we created a pattern for this, you are cutting out 2 pieces, okay? Then for the side back you are cutting out 2 pieces, and for the center back you are also cutting out 2 pieces, okay? 2 pieces, meaning that you are going to slit the center back, okay? It's not going to be on fold, so it's going to be 1, okay? But because you are slitting the back, it's going to be 2. I hope you understand this. So you see, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you would like to see the sewing part of this tutorial, like this video. Let this video have at least 100 likes, and if you would like to see the sewing tutorial of this, pattern that we make, also comment yes on the comment section. So when I see that, I will know that people are interested in watching the video, because sometimes people are only interested in the pattern tutorial and not the sewing tutorial. So let me know what you think of this video. If you've not subscribed yet at this point, kindly do so. What are you waiting for? So guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye.